That is all she wrote, folks, as Jim Harbaugh's coaching career at the University of Michigan will come to an end. A credible report out there breaking this Tuesday evening that the interview that is scheduled tomorrow on National Signing Day for Jim Harbaugh to head to Minnesota to interview for this job is just a formality. Vikings concluded their interviews with other candidates today. They had a long interview with the Giants defensive coordinator, but Jim Harbaugh's trip to Minnesota is to accept the head coaching job, and his 7 seasons with Michigan will come to an end. And now, folks, a lot of uncertainty and a coaching search ahead of the Michigan football program. And, of course, you guys and me, the fans, and this show. So, Chris Balas of TheWolverine.com. They recently moved over to the On3 recruiting network after a couple decades with rivals. Credit to him for breaking the story, and Chris has been on top of these things, and so that's why we're going with this report, although we have yet to independently verify it ourselves. He says, sources, Jim Harbaugh plans to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. In the article that was included with this tweet, he goes on to say that there may have been some uncertainty or some people talking about, well, this is an interview and the reason he's going up there, but once they concluded their interviews with other candidates, that he was going to head up there on Wednesday, National Signing Day, more of a formality, if anything, to accept the job. Potentially, folks, even potentially having a press conference from Minneapolis, St. Paul tomorrow. So, Chris Balas, Wolverine.com, credit to him. I do want to give credit when someone breaks a story of this magnitude. So I'll put the link to their website down in the description if you are interested in being a subscriber, to make sure subscriber to give them credit. So I want to know if you guys, before I dive further into it, what's your one-word reaction to Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan after 7 seasons? Just on the spot, it's kind of bittersweet, right? I think I'm guilty of it more than as much as anybody, of calling for Jim Harbaugh's head or being a negative guy when it comes to the underperformance of this program and records, losing record against Ohio State, obviously, but also a losing record against Minnesota, but ended on a very high note with the win over Ohio State, the win over Iowa, the appearance in the college football playoff, and a lot of momentum. But Jim Harbaugh will be the new head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. So as a Michigan guy, I'm going to say bittersweet. We're also going to toss this video on our Vikings channel, so youtube.com/Vikings today if you Harbaugh fans want to follow his career with the Vikings. I'll put that a link down in the comments as well. So let's kind of recap where Jim Harbaugh has, where he's come from, where he's gone. 61-24 record, 7 seasons at Michigan. You could say that 2015 was one of the best turnarounds college football seen in a couple of decades, right? A program completely in shambles, 5-7. This looked like garbage in a Brady Hokus final year. Quick turnaround, 10-3. Lost to Michigan State that year, if you recall. He bobbled the snap, a Michigan State team that would win the Big Ten, go to the college football playoff. And without that loss, a close loss against Utah, Michigan had a chance of going into the Ohio State game his first year, 11-0. But 2016, right down to the wire, ended the Ohio State game top 4. 2018, ended the Ohio State game top 4. Lost both those games. 2019, tough season, 9-4. 2020, things fell apart. We all called for his job, myself maybe the leader of that calling of his job, but got it turned around. Bet on himself, took a big-time pullback in his salary from $8 million down to $4 million with some bonuses, $2 million in bonuses that he gave back to the athletic department. But I hope this isn't the last we see of Jim Harbaugh in Schembechler Hall in Ann Arbor. I do hope that because of his long-standing relationship with the school, from a coach's son back in the 1970s to a player in the 1980s to a famous alumni in the NFL as an NFL quarterback in the 80s and 90s to one of the more intriguing and famous coaches in football over the last 10 to 15 years. I hope it's not we're seeing him tomorrow in a Minnesota Vikings hat and he never returns to Michigan in a formal manner. I hope he talks to his team, right? Whether it's a Zoom call or comes back on Thursday morning, Wednesday night. And I really hope he holds a press conference and just says, look, I gave you guys 7 years. I know things didn't go as well as everyone had hoped for, but I took over a program that was down in the dumps after a coaching, the second coaching fire, Rich Rod, and 4 years later, Brady Hoke, and I turned it around, leaving it in a good spot, beat Ohio State. The next coach is going to inherit a Big Ten championship team. So I kind of hope it's not a bad walk-off like Brian Kelly, where he just kind of disappears in the middle of the night, has a 5 minutes meeting with his team, and he's down to LSU, or Oklahoma's coach. Just, whoop, I'm gone, and no one ever hears from him again at that school. But Jim Harbaugh has a heck of a record and a heck of a lot of success in the NFL in his 4 seasons, 2011 to 2014. He led the San Francisco 49ers to 3 straight NFC championships games. This was a team that was as down in the dumps as any franchise was out there. The Jets, the Browns, other teams. And they went from like 5-12, 5-11 the year prior to 13-3. And it was only a fumble away on a punt return in the fourth quarter from making the Super Bowl his first year with Alex Smith as his quarterback. Year two makes a mid-year quarterback change. He has takes Colin Kaepernick into the Super Bowl in year two, and furious comeback was only a completed pass that had first down and goal from inside the 10 with a couple minutes left in the game. All he had to do was score a touchdown. He's a Super Bowl champion. Didn't get it done. And then another tip pass in the end zone the next year against the Seattle Seahawks presented a second trip to the Super Bowl that was in 3 straight NFC Championship games. And things started to fall apart, right? With Jed York, Trent Baalke, the front office in San Francisco, went 8-8 in his final year and then became the Michigan head coach. A lot of things that could have gone wrong, different at Michigan. He could have won in 2016 against Ohio State. Could have won 2015 against Michigan State. Could have beat Iowa in 2016 and a couple other games here or there that could have made his tenure at Michigan a little bit more successful. But he left Michigan in a much better place than the one he found it. And given everything that he's done at this school, from a coach's son to a player to a famous alum to now the head football coach for 7 years and now the outgoing head football coach, I'll just say thanks to Jim Harbaugh. I don't hold any grudges against him. I think he lasted longer than a lot of people thought he would. And that is the tenure of what Michigan got out of him. 1 win over Ohio State. But hey, look, Ryan Day and him were overlapped 3 years. Ryan Day only got 1 win against Jim Harbaugh. So maybe that's successful there. A little Ohio State joke right there on that one. So Harbaugh, 44-19-1 record in the NFL in 4 seasons, 61-24 at Michigan. But I want to talk about who Michigan will pursue as their next head coach, because this comes at a very awkward time for a coaching search. Typically, you don't see coaching searches that start in February, right? Michigan will potentially starting their coaching search on February 1st tonight, 2nd, 3rd, etc. And I think there's some rumors and rumblings out there that they've already reached out to a handful of candidates that we're going to talk about here in a second. But, folks, before we do take a look at those candidates, I want to tell you guys, this is why you subscribe, right? If you haven't subscribed yet, we are the first channel, the first show having content out here. Dropped everything. 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, have a show for you out within minutes of this news being broke by Chris Balas of the Wolverine. So, because we put out a show earlier, I said, hey, if we get 75 new subscribers, we'll have a live show tomorrow. Well, we're going to do a live show even if we don't get that, because there's so many things we've got to talk about. It's National Signing Day tomorrow. Jim Harbaugh will officially accept his Vikings job, and we've got to talk about what a new coaching staff looks like, a head coaching search, who the top candidates are, what all the rumors are around that situation. So make sure, Michigan fans watching this, subscribe, youtube.com/Michigan TV. You Vikings fans are watching this video, hey, join the party, right? Find out what Jim Harbaugh and Michigan fans, Jim Harbaugh brings as a coach and what Michigan fans think of his departure. Make sure you guys get in the comments tomorrow on that live show. Those Vikings fans, may just rub a little salt in the wound if you want to. As long as you watch, I don't really care. So who will Michigan pursue as their next head coach? I think I've flip-flopped quite a few times with different names, and there's some names that are out there that I wouldn't have on my list, but I think I've heard enough rumblings that I'm going to include them here on this list. Number one, I put a tweet out and I said laugh out loud to Matt Rhule, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and not because I thought he was a laughable head coach or a laughable potential candidate, was mostly because it was right in the middle of peak Harbaugh hype 2 weeks ago, and it seemed like Jason La Canfora of CBS was just throwing things out there on a Friday night to get some clicks. But it's, Matt Rhule has a heck of a coaching career. Baylor, Temple prior to that. He's known as kind of a instant success guy, a lot like Harbaugh. I don't know if he's a guy who takes you from, here to here, but maybe he's one who takes you down to where they are now. So I'm not sure if this is the right job for him, but he likely will be the number one candidate. And there are some rumblings that Ward Manuel, Michigan's athletic director, is already back-channeled to his representatives to see if there is any interest. So keep an eye out for that one. He is entering next year definitely on the hot seat going into his 3rd year with the Panthers. Another one. This isn't a candidate, I think, but he's been rumored and rumbled enough. He's got Big Ten success with Penn State as their head coach 2012, 2013 is Bill O'Brien. Didn't have people going to try and dog on him for his NFL career. He had a pretty good NFL career, right? They made the playoffs several times. They were typically at a winning record, and it kind of fell apart for him there at the end. Offensive coordinator at Alabama. Now, he might have some Josh Gattis bad vibes. Gattis didn't really work out there, but Bill O'Brien's going to be a hot candidate in the coming years, whether it's with Michigan this year or some other school. And given the fact that he was successful in the Big Ten, turned around the worst situation in college football history after the Joe Pa scandal, I think it's one that Michigan should potentially look at. An old name here, but I think still one that's relevant. Matt Campbell, head coach at Iowa State. Bad year this year. They started off in the top 10, didn't end up anywhere near there, but he is a heck of a coach. He's young. He's in his early 40s, and he's from the state of Ohio and has shown, people have rumored for years that Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, those are his dream jobs. I definitely think he would take the call, and Michigan should absolutely reach out to him. Here's one that's going to be thrown around by a lot of people. A lot of Michigan folks are going to push for this one. I don't think it would be the best move. If you took his name and said, this is Mike Hart, leading rusher in Clemson football history, Georgia football history, that is Michigan's running backs coach, would he be the top 5 candidate for this job? Would he be an internal promotion? You know the answer is no. But because he is Mike Hart, because he's a Michigan legend, because he did come back a year ago to be the running backs coach, he is going to be the leader in the clubhouse for an internal promotion or potentially an interim hire that maybe goes into the season. I don't know if I like that idea, but that has been thrown out there by some other people there. Harold Goodwin, I guess we threw an extra L on there. That's no problem. We'll kind of go through running backs, running games coordinator for the BUCS, which is Super Bowl coach with the Tampa Bay Bucks last year, running game coordinator. So, he's kind of like a glorified offensive lineman / running backs coach, but has a Michigan background, right? Played for Michigan 92 to 95. And has a pretty storied career. Just I wasn't on my radar until the last couple of days, but was a grad assistant with Michigan 95 to 97 under Lloyd Carr. Had stints at Eastern Michigan, had stints at Central Michigan from 98 to 99 at Eastern, Central 2000 to 2003. And then I was going to kind of lean down on my screen and give you guys some background on Harold Goodwin, because a lot of folks are saying he is a likely candidate that Michigan will look at. Coached with the Chicago Bears in 2004 as an offensive line coach, 2007 Pittsburgh Steelers as an offensive line and quality control coach, Colts 2012 as their offensive line coach, Arizona Cardinals, he was their offensive coordinator for just one season in 2013. And then, I guess that's taking that back. He was offensive coordinator at with the Cardinals for 5 years, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, apologies, and then has been the assistant head coach and running game coordinator 2019, 2020, and 21. His Michigan background says that, he might get looked at as a Michigan man, but he wasn't on my radar before this, really this last week or so, but a lot of folks are mentioning him out there. Another one to keep an eye on that I didn't put in my top 5, Dave Aranda from Baylor, one to keep an eye on, a ton of success. Would he listen to Michigan? I think so. I think probably will Michigan reach out to him. I think it's wait and see. Ward Manuel, does he have the wherewithal and the stones to go out there and get the best coach in college football that would listen to him and talk to him about the Michigan football head coaching job? So to recap, Jim Harbaugh will accept the Vikings head coaching job on Wednesday on National Signing Day, and Michigan will be in a full transition mode to a new potential coaching staff, as first reported by Chris Balas of thewolverine.com. Credit to him. And now we're in a whole new era for Michigan football. So I want to find out who you think. Let's put a question up on screen. Who will be Michigan's head coach in 2022? To producer Matthew. Ask you guys, who will be Michigan's head coach in 2022? I want to know from you guys what you think. I said somebody earlier today, I don't even know who it was. I'm just going to take a guess at Matt Campbell. Right? That one makes some sense, but I would probably be okay with those top 3, Rhule, O'Brien, or Campbell. But I want to know what you guys think here on the Michigan Football Report. And Vikings, Minnesota Vikings Now by Chat Sports as well. Go down in the comments. Let me know. We'll be back on Wednesday live on this channel, 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you set your notifications and join us then. And until tomorrow, folks, go blue.